Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you have a great and wonderful day. And here I am to tell you what's going on in Hamas, or specifically with the Israeli women that were kidnapped during this whole situation. Now, I understand that these women are specifically soldiers and what have you, and this is something that should be talked about or whatever, right? That they're soldiers or whatever. And my biggest thing is that there's going to be a person that's going to go over and explaining exactly on how these people are. And again, I'm not with Israel or with Hamas, but I think if you have soldiers or hostages, there is a fine line between actually beating them and then doing horrific things to them and then just holding them hostage just to hold them hostage, not doing anything and make sure they're what have you, right? That's just the way it is. But what we have here from the New York Post is that sickening new video shows Hamas line up female Israeli soldiers on October 7th. Now, I can't show you all the actual videos, right? I like the full-on video, because I just don't want YouTube to bring it down, right? I want YouTube to be able to keep my video up and all this stuff without having it being knocked down or censored or whatever. And that's just what YouTube does. Harrowing video released Wednesday shows the moments of 5 female Israeli soldiers covered in blood and surrounded by the bodies of their massacred comrades who were threatened with rape and kidnapped by Hamas terrorists on October 7th. Body cam footage from the Hamas government shows the moment the young women operating at Nahal Oz base outside the Gaza Strip were handcuffed and pressed against a wall while still in pajamas. In the sickening video, the terrorists could be heard gloating or announcing their apparent plans to sexually assault the soldiers. Here are the girls who can get pregnant, one of the gunmen said. You are so beautiful. The Hostages and Missing Families Forum, which released the video, said the horrifying tape shows the horrifying reality of the 5 hostages still in the clutches of the terror group in Gaza. They were identified as Larry Albig, Karina Arev, Aaron Berger, Daniela Gilboa, and Nami Levy. The video is a damning testament to the nation's failure to bring home the hostages who have been forsaken for 229 days, the group said in a statement urging that the hostage exchange talks with Hamas resume. The Israeli government must not waste even one more moment and must return to the negotiating table today. The video, which was shot inside the Nahal Oz base bomb shelter, shows the Palestinian terrorists in complete control by 9 a.m. October 7th. The government could be seen inspecting the injured and bloody women, as they call them, dogs, and order them to pose for photos with their assailants. It goes on to say that Levy could be seen with blood smeared across her face as she pleaded with the gunmen and told them that she has friends in Gaza. Another one of the hostages was pleading profusely from her mouth, with blood also staining her white pajamas. All the women were wearing pajamas as the base was attacked in the early morning during the Sukkot holiday. The boy 19 was seen wearing Snoopy pajama pants. During the heated confrontation, Albag was seen urging the gunmen to find someone who could speak English with her. The terrorists, however, yell at them to be quiet and sit down, and accuse the women of being behind the deaths of their comrades who were presumably killed when the Hamas overran the base. After the terrorists stopped for a moment to pray, they could be seen hauling the injured women into the back of a car amid a flare of gunfire pounding in the background. Several of the women could be seen limping and having trouble getting into the vehicle, with some of the terrorists shouting at them to leave the bodies of their friends behind. The final moments of the video show the women packed in the back of the car as dozens of angry screams could be heard while the vehicle drove off. So that's what's going on here. And here's the one thing that I actually want to emphasize a little bit here on this situation, right? We have the situation here where they're talking about accusing the women of being behind the death of their comrades who were presumably killed when Hamas overran the base. And that's not necessarily the case here. Now, I understand that this is war, and if they're actual Israeli soldiers, then things are going to happen. However, there's a difference between an actual non-combatant and stuff like that to where this is coming in forth, right? So what we have here is this simple matter, all right? This is from Gal G, and she kind of goes over the whole thing with Naama Levy, and it kind of explains exactly what's going on. Naama Levy is a symbol of what has happened to many Israelis on October 7th and will never be the same. Naama was a peace activist before she went to the IDF as an observer, a non-combatant unarmed position. So, she was in the IDF, but she's an observer in a non-combatant unarmed position, which means that's the that's a pretty big thing, right? These people, when people are unarmed, it's kind of crazy in a sense. But it says before the army, Nama was a part of the Hands of Peace and an activist for peace in an organization with Americans, Israelis, and Gazans. She wanted to hear the other side, which is the case of this here, right? This is what she's saying, and that's what I think that's the biggest thing you have to see about this, is that most of us remember Nama from this horrific video of her almost unrecognizable paraded in the streets of Gaza like a product. Today another video was released, and this is the video that we've seen here. I may believe I've seen this video before, right? And this is gonna, I just don't think that she's alive, to be perfectly honest with you. It says, this is what she looked like in Gaza, alone, isolated from the other hostages. Now there was a new video release. This new video is with the clips from a GoPro cameras of the terrorists, that families just agreed to release from the horrible moments of October 7th. Now, I can't, as I said, I can't show you all of it because of what's going on, so I can only do very quick snapshots here. And it says, in this video, most of the Israelis until October 7th tries to appeal to terrorists. Humanity says, and I have friends in Palestine, or at least she thought that she has friends that are Palestinians, and that would mean something, but they silence her aggressively. And that's just the way it is. And I think that's what the far left are too. They think that these people are with them, right? And are good. But this is not something that I would see this as good at all. And what's going on? This is terrible, and we shouldn't be allowed to have this at all. And of course, we have this from Ollie Lana saying, viewer discretion advised. Never before seen video shows 5 Israeli teenage girls after being brutally beaten and kidnapped on October 7th. The teenagers, all aged 19, are seen covered in blood, with one of them, Navi Levy, believed to have been brutally raped with heavy blood stains seen on the front and back of her pants. One of their kidnappers can be heard on video shouting, "Your dog, we will step on you." And that's just the case it is. Now, this is the video showing of the girls, pretty much, what's going on here. It says, again, from all London, it said, these are the last moments of freedom of 5 Israeli teenagers before they were kidnapped, beaten, and tortured on October 7th. Videos from inside the Oz army base in Israel shows the terrified young girls crouching on the floor. Moments later, the terrorist enters as the petrified girls say, "Who is this man?" before they scream as gunshots can be heard. 5 of the young girls, as I mentioned before, they have been held hostage for 228 days. And this is just what's going on here. Now, notice how all these other girls, the other girls that were here, yeah, this is just the reality of what's going on here, right? And they're all held into a corner, and look how many there are. And then you go and look at this, specifically here, and show how many are left, right? Like, there is not a lot left. Obviously, they were executed. Like, this is pretty obvious. So, again, as I said before, I don't care too much about the Israel and Palestine stuff, what's going on specifically politically here, of what's going on with this situation, right? Because that's not the problem here. What I am saying is that I don't really agree with the reality of how treating people this way and what Hamas is technically doing. I understand it's war, and war is not pretty, and things like that. But if they're non-combatants and they're kidnapped, and obviously they have been raped, let's be honest here, that's probably what's happened to these young women. It's especially after 228 days, and they also talk about getting pregnant. It's things like this that you're going to see that the horrible atrocities, and probably more shocking videos will be released. We don't know, but I'm showing you the dark side of Hamas. If people want to show, if you Hamas projectors want to post stuff in my Discord, go ahead and do it. You can't really post on YouTube because, well, YouTube deletes your comments. So join the Discord. You can leave afterwards if you want, and show what's going on in Israel, what Israel is doing to your people. But as of right now, I'm not seeing this stuff happening on the Israel side. Maybe I'm not seeing everything all in full, but obviously this is something that is not appropriate, not okay, and you're obviously kidnapped girls, young teenage girls that are non-combatants in this situation, and that's honestly disgusting. All right, guys, that's it for the video. Like, share. As always, take care, my friends.
I'm disgusted by what I see in public. Even people closest to us can't be trusted, because it's algorithmic disease, the social media.